Hi, I'm Britt Hedlund, and this is my Module 10 presentation. The first thing I want to talk about is just to summarize the case. It seems to me that the principal has been blindsided by a newly formed parents organization that is no longer affiliated with the National PTA. It looks like the parents don't feel like they are pleased with the prior role and they want to be more involved in policy, decision making, teacher performance, curriculum, and what happens in the classroom. The parents want more from the teachers, like a series of back to school meetings focusing on one or two subjects each evening, and they want the teachers to be in charge of that. And they also want to do more during parent teacher conferences. It seems like the parents would like to collect data, and it sounds like they want to become kind of equal with administration. I feel like the principal understands that he needs to respond and communicate in a way that everyone understands while promoting current and future success and well-being of all the stakeholders. Um, and I just looked up the National PTA Association online, and I loved their vision, so I included it. That their vision is to make every child, or their mission is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. The next section discusses legal and ethical issues, and I think it's important to note that parents and parent groups, PTA, they can't make policy, but they can have a standing position and support policy. And they can advocate for policy, and I think that's wise, but they can't enforce policy. I think it's unethical the way the parents blindsided the principal. And I also think that it's kind of risky for the parents to be the ones who require teachers to work, especially after contracted hours. It seems to me that the parent group kind of wants to function more like the school board, and all of the things that took place and were decided happened without meeting with teachers or with the principal. And I think that's unethical as well. So, to synthesize what's going on, the parents' organization feels they could be utilized more productively in their school, so they have used a young parent who is an attorney to try to bully their way into being involved in the things they feel they should without meeting or acknowledging all important stakeholders. Some missing facts that I noticed. The teachers, first and foremost, were not talked about, or there was no facts about the teachers. There weren't any facts about the superintendent or the school board. We don't know how many parents were involved. And probably most importantly, we don't know the demographics of those parents involved. We don't know if it's a diverse group of parents or if it's just, a few unhappy parents. But we don't know the demographics of those parents that are involved in the new group. We don't know the demographics of the community, what it's like, the size of the school, or how involved the community is. We don't know anything about the school's communication policy, their vision and mission statement, or we also don't know what data will be collected by the parents. And I think those are all important facts that we need to know. Prioritizing this information, I think the main thing that everyone involved needs to remember is that both the parents and the principal see value in parent participation, and they know that that's linked to student success and school improvement. It's important to know that the parents are overstepping their boundaries, and the principal looks to me like has to decide how to handle those parents without them becoming upset and without losing their support. It's important to know that the school board is responsible for policy, and it's also important to know that the teachers haven't been involved. So I started thinking about a plan, and the first thing I would probably do is bring the superintendent up to speed. I feel like he needs to know what is going on and inform the principal of any legal issues or board policy that he or she might not know about when it comes to parent involvement. I feel like the parents, I think it would be important to meet with members of the parent group individually and go into that meeting with a to convey the shared goal of student success. I feel like the parents need to understand what they can and can't do legally, and it would come from that meeting. And then also, when meeting with parents, I would like to know more about the data that they wish to collect and see if there's more that needs to be done or less. Um, I think that after I met with parents individually, I would reflect on the type of parents that I met with and make sure that all families are represented within that parent group, that it's not just a few individuals who feel like change needs to happen, that change is felt needed through the whole group, not just a few. Because we know that for true change to happen, everyone has to have a seat at the table. And then I'd like to talk to my teachers. I'd like to let them know kind of what's going on and then ask them how they feel about parent involvement and see where they would like to be supported more or where parents could help them for success. And then I think it would be important to use the data collected by the parents to form a plan that laid out the parent support and school improvement due to that parent support. Next, I evaluated the pros and the cons of my plan, and I feel like the pro is that most importantly, school or student success is a priority for all stakeholders. I think that's the biggest pro that we have to work with. I think it's also super cool that their families are involved and want to be involved in the decision making, but it has to be appropriate. And then I think it's a pro that they want to use data and that their decisions are based on data, not just what they think or feel. Some cons that might come from my plan is that the school board might have to get involved. The teachers may not feel supported or understood, and the parents may not feel heard if things don't go exactly how they feel they should go. Next, I reflected on that plan and just took some time to think about it. And I decided that it would be helpful to ask a few teachers to be involved in the process, to be included in the meeting. And then I also thought about the parents and, just how they are interested in the policy portion of school improvement. And I would encourage them to be involved in the local school board if they want to work more in that area. I looked up our Kansas Board of Education's website and because I don't know a lot of the rules, and I found that it is the board's job to adopt policy and set guidelines based on case law and rules and regulations. And once the board does adopt a policy, the superintendent is the one who is responsible to implement that policy. So, implementing my decision. The path I would take would be to hold a meeting with the superintendent, then the members of the parent group individually, and then with teachers. At the individual meetings, it would be important to find out if all parent groups are being represented or just a few who have formed the new group. It would be a goal of mine to make sure all parents are represented, not just a few. If the parent group is not diverse, I would invite others to be involved, which would make the group more diverse. And I would also encourage the parent group to get their data collected from all stakeholders involved. I then would form a committee which consisted of myself, the parent group, and a few teachers that wanted to be involved. And the goal of all stakeholders being at that meeting is to look through data to see what the most important tasks are for school improvement and student success and develop a plan to make that happen. It would also be important to explain the difference between school board and parent group responsibilities and urge those who are interested in policy to become involved in the Board of Education. I would work hard to communicate how great it is to have parents involved and how that affects student success. It would be important to have an interpreter for anyone who doesn't speak English at the meeting. I think that what needs to happen is that all stakeholders feel heard, valued, and know their role as an outcome of our meeting. I feel like student improvement and student success and school improvement would be definitely the main goal. And I would also hope that our teachers felt supported through this process and understood their role and parent roles as well. So, who needs to know about this? Every stakeholder and community member needs to know um, that we are all working together for school improvement and student success. And I would use, our communication guidelines that the school has in place, but also I would use social media, parent nights, um, open houses, whatever's already there in place to let others know of the plan that we came up with, who's involved in the plan. Um, and then I would think that it would be very important to communicate and just show how all stakeholders are working together with and show progress frequently and often. Plan B, what next? If something didn't go the way I hope, I guess the next step would be to involve the school board, to get the school board, or maybe even a mediator, um, because I feel like there's so much positive to go from with the involvement of parents and all stakeholders that maybe a mediator might be able to help with that situation if needed. So, to conclude, I think it would be my goal and responsibility to ensure that all stakeholders feel heard and valued. I believe that school improvement will happen if everyone does their part and knows their part, and those roles are laid out clearly. And the best outcome would be student success. I feel like everybody would be happy if we could show and see student success. And I found this quote on the Kansas School Board's website. It says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world," by Margaret Mead. Here are my references. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation.